Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous Quizzette tutorial. Today we're working on Quizzette 812, and today is Tuesday. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Our first objective today, if you haven't already done so, please copy down the agenda into your agenda. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your daily planner, you're going to find today's date, and you're going to locate Tuesday and the math section. You're going to copy down number 1, number 2, and number 3, again, into your agenda. Now, before I continue, go ahead and pause the video if you have not already done so, and unpause the video when you have copied this down into your agenda. All right, looks like you're ready to go and you have unpaused the video. So starting with number 1, what is the unit rate of an athlete? Let me think right now. What's an athlete? Oh, it's one of those people that are involved in sports that usually get championships, medals, and usually do some crazy exercises. So an athlete is somebody that has a sports ability that does sit-ups. There we go. At a speed of 105 sit-ups in 3 minutes. So remember, unit rate is equal to a unit of time of 1. Now notice that here we got 3 minutes. So what I want is a unit rate of 1 minute. So our unit rate is going to be 1 minute. In order to take it from 3 down to 1 minute, we're going to use division. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 and divide it into 105 sit-ups so we can determine how many sit-ups are done in 1 minute apiece. All right, so here we go. We got 3 into 10. 3 goes in the 10 3 times. Because 3 times 3 is equal to 9. Now, if I use 4 times 3 would be 12, and subtracting 12 from a 10 would give us a negative number, so we do not want to do that. So we're going to use subtraction to figure out our next step. So 10 minus 9 is going to be equal to 1. Now, you're probably thinking right now, well, Mr. Painter, 3 doesn't go in the 1. No, it doesn't, but you have also forgot to bring down the 5. There we go. All right, so we're going to take our 3, go in the 15. 3 times something equals 15. Now I'm thinking 3 times what equals 15? Oh, yeah. 3 times 5 is equal to 15, and 15 minus 15 is no remainder. So we can take our number here, 35 sit-ups. That's some good exercise right there. 35 sit-ups per, okay, what are we talking about? What unit of time? Minutes per minute. So 35 sit-ups per minute is what we're looking for. And I want to thank those that are sitting in class right now that actually showed their steps, because that's important. So when we grade our papers, we're looking to show that the steps are there, just like we did in our tutorial here. All right, let's look at the graph for questions 2 through 4. Now, a couple of things I want to make a note about the graph is, number 1, the graph is something called linear. The word linear means the line is straight. Now, by straight, I don't mean whether it is flat, straight up and down. I mean that the line continues in one direction without a change of direction. Now, I also want to note that the line, because it is going up towards the left, that it is going to be a negative slope or a negative line. And that's going to be important coming up for questions that we see here. So yesterday we dealt with positive. Today, here's a tutorial of something that looks like it's negative. All right. Number 2, what is the x and y intercept of the line? So when we talk about intercept, we're looking for where does the line cross. So let's start with the x-intercept. So x-intercept, and now can you remember from yesterday, what does the word intercept mean? Because we wrote down a note to remind us of what the intercept means. Oh, intercept means to cross. Very good. You do remember from yesterday. That's good. All right. So where are we going to cross the x-axis on the horizontal line? So the x-axis is the line going horizontal from left to right, and we're looking for the road where the red line touches. So we're looking for right there. Now, starting at the center of the graph, also known as the origin, how far does it take to get to that point? So notice here from the center, we need to go over 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because we went 4, we're going to have the x-intercept of positive 4. And because we don't go up and because we don't go down, we have a 0 for the y value. So the x-intercept is located at positive 4, comma, 0. All right, next step. We're looking for the y-intercept. Looking for the y-intercept. So let's go ahead and find the y-intercept. The y-intercept, or the y-axis, is the line going straight up and down. And the reason I've changed it to an arrow is because the y-axis, as well as the x-axis, and the line does go on forever. This is just a small snapshot of what's going on in this portion of the line. So, starting at the origin again, we don't go left, but we also don't go right. So our y-intercept, because we do not go left or go right first, the y value is the only thing we're looking for. Therefore, the x value here is equal to 0 because we don't go left and we don't go right. So we're going to count up a total of 1, a total of 2 to get to that point. Because I counted a total of 2, we have a positive 2 value. All right, it's that time to count for slope. The slope is how steep a line is. So that yesterday I could have done a better job is. So I'm going to put how steep. So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's say you're walking around the campus, right? You're walking around campus to your next class, and the slope is very flat. And it's also a slope of 0 because it doesn't go up or down because you're just walking along. Now, let's say you're taking a nice hike up the mountain. A mountain hike could be very steep. And when that happens, the slope will be more of a larger number. So the larger the number of the slope, the steeper it will be. All right, so when we're talking about slope, we are talking about rise over run. When we talk about rise over run, the rise is how many do we count up, and the run is how many do we count to the right or count to the left. If we have to count to the left, we're going to count to a negative direction. And if we have to count to the right, we're going to count in a positive direction. So that would determine the sign of our fraction. Equals. Starting with the lower point, which is going to be the x-intercept, we are going to count to the same height as the y-intercept. So we need to count a total of 1 and 2 boxes. So we had to count up 2. Now, because I'm at the same height, I want to be at the same location by counting to the left. Now, because I'm going to count to the left, our fraction will now become negative because the run is counting to the left. So I need to count to the left a total of 1, a total of 2, 3. I'm almost there. Bam, I hit the y-intercept right there at negative 4. So far we got a slope rise over run equals negative 2 over 4. Now the question is, can we simplify the fraction negative 2 over 4? And I believe we can, because we can divide 2 by 2, and we can divide 4 also by 2. When simplifying a fraction, it is very important to note that you must divide or even multiply or whatever by the same number. Because when you do that, it keeps the fraction in something called equivalent form. So in this case, we're going to divide. So 2 divide 2 is going to be 1, and 4 divide 2 is going to be 2. So now we get something called 1/2. So 1/2 is actually our final solution because we cannot simplify it any further. Notice the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So some students by accident will say, oh, 1/2 is equal to a whole number of 2. Well, that's not the case because a half of pizza, pizza, is different than 2 pizzas. So 1/2 cannot be simplified even further. That is the actual slope. All right, last but not least, number 4, what is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form? And hint, we're going to use y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So your first step is to write down the equation y equals mx plus b. Now, it's giving you a hint because they're looking for m and b to be numbers. So my next step is to leave those blank and fill them in. So y equals blank x plus blank. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on a little scavenger hunt and locate where these points are. So the first one is looking for m. Well, m is the slope that we did back on question number 3. And we determined that the steepness of the line is equal to 1/2. So our m value is going to be 1/2. And our last value of b, which is going to be the y-intercept is only the y value in the y-intercept. And that y value is going to be a total of 2. So our final equation here is y equals 1/2x plus 2. All right, this concludes your Quizette for the Tuesday section.